These are the stories of people in Oregon who have been harmed by Measure 37, a Prop 90 style measure that recently became law. Under Prop 90, Californians would face similar negative impacts on their land, homes, businesses, and environment.
Spring Lake Estates is a pretty unique development. It was started back in the early 80s, as I remember. And I believe there are around 90 some parcels to the original development.
We've lived here about 16 years, and I think what drew me at least to this property is the lake area, and the lake was a big draw, and the issue of the common trails, because I like to walk, and especially with my dog, and I like the idea of some shared common properties. What we're worried about the most is that if that development goes in as planned, with possibly up to 82 lots with 82 wells sunk into the ground, and no preservation attempt of protecting the springs, that the whole creek will dry up, and that our lake is going to be severely affected over the long term. Probably wouldn't be right away, but it would be over the long term after all the lots go in and things like that.
And then, of course, secondary in my particular situation is, is it going to affect my well, my water? I mean, we just drilled a well 2 years ago, and we have an adequate supply of water now. But Spring Lake, the majority of Spring Lake is what they call a water-sensitive area. And maybe after they put in 80 some more wells, or even a community wells or whatever, and they're drawing down on this water, all of a sudden we built a new house, and now we're out of water.
Then there's the decrease in property values, that we expected things to be the way they were, and that the property right or land use laws would protect us. And now we can't depend on them because certain privileged landowners get to go around it and get waivers. And it's totally unfair to the rest of us that have to accept that.
Unfortunately, I believe I voted for Measure 37. And I was probably like a lot of other people that either didn't take as much time as I should have to review the measure, or didn't possibly understand it as much. So I thought, what my interpretation of Measure 37 was, it was going to rectify some small problems, that people had, say they were stuck in the middle of town, and, they've got their 3-acre farm that was in the family for 50 years, and they wanted to subdivide it or whatever. That was what, they were touting on the radio when you could hear all the propaganda on it. I said, well, yeah, no problem, I guess I don't have a problem with that, just because their zoning isn't quite right, why? So, I felt, that I don't have a problem with that. Little, of course, did we know, or did anybody know, I guess, that it would be interpreted a little bit different way.
But the idea that you can have a chunk of property and that you can do whatever you want on it and can have all existing laws, aside from some minor health and safety laws, waived and affect your neighbors however you like, suck up their groundwater, create eyesores, create noise and disturbances. I think most Oregonians, that is not the values that they endorse. And if they're made aware of this fact, we would come back to a middle ground of balance, which is where law and social policy should be, not tilted one way or the other.
Mm. Now, I'd like to add that I moved here from the Midwest partly because I liked Oregon's land use laws, and I think a lot of people move here from other states and appreciate it because of the recreational resources and the greenery and the land use laws that keep a lot of green open space and fewer billboards on the highways and things like that. And I'm afraid that's all going to be destroyed.
Vote no on 90. It's an assault on the environment.